The day my toddler threw her plate across the kitchen for the third time in a week, I sat down on the floor next to the mess, and I genuinely had no idea what to do next. If you've ever hit that wall, where nothing seems to work, and you feel like you're either too soft or too harsh, this video is for you. Toddler discipline is one of the most searched topics in parenting, and one of the most confusing. The advice is everywhere and often completely contradictory. Here's what the research actually says. Before we talk strategies, here's the most important reframe in this entire video. Between ages 1 and 3, children are experiencing a surge in independence and self-awareness. They know what they want, but they don't yet have the language, emotional regulation, or impulse control to express or manage it. What looks like defiance is almost always one of three things: a bid for attention, an assertion of autonomy, or a response to an unmet need: hunger, tiredness, overstimulation. Research consistently shows that young children who misbehave are rarely being deliberately manipulative. They're communicating the only way they know how. Timeouts get a bad reputation mostly because they're used incorrectly. Research supports timeouts as effective when they're brief, calm, and consistent. The general guideline: 1 minute per year of age. A 2-year-old gets 2 minutes, a 3-year-old gets 3. The key is to remain calm yourself. A timeout delivered with yelling teaches your child that big emotions are unmanageable, the opposite of what you want. State the reason briefly, set the time, follow through. When it's over, it's over. No replaying the incident. For children over 3, try inviting them to decide when they're ready to come back. You can rejoin us when you're feeling calm. That builds self-regulation, not just compliance. Here's an important distinction most parenting books don't explain clearly enough: the difference between punishment and consequences. Punishment is imposed and often arbitrary, taking away a toy because a child threw food. A consequence is logically connected to the behavior. If you throw your food, mealtime ends. When consequences are natural and connected, children learn cause and effect rather than simply learning to fear the punisher. Research links natural consequences to better long-term behavior, stronger parent-child relationships, and higher self-esteem. The one rule: never take away something a child genuinely needs. Food, sleep, comfort are not bargaining chips. One of the most effective and underused discipline tools for toddlers is redirection. When a child is heading toward a meltdown or a forbidden behavior, shifting their attention to something else can diffuse the situation before it escalates. This works because toddler attention spans are short, and their prefrontal cortex, the impulse control center of the brain, is nowhere near fully developed. They genuinely cannot just stop. Offering an alternative gives them somewhere to redirect their energy. Sticker charts, candy for good behavior, screen time as a reward. These are everywhere in toddler parenting advice. And while they can produce short-term results, the research raises consistent concerns. When behavior is tied to external rewards, children learn to perform for the reward rather than internalize the value of the behavior itself. Studies on intrinsic motivation show that children who are rewarded for activities they already enjoyed actually become less interested in those activities over time. The goal of discipline isn't to produce good behavior in the moment. It's to build the internal values and self-regulation that will guide your child long after the sticker chart is gone. Here's what struck me when I researched parenting globally. In Japan, the concept of gambaru, perseverance, doing your best, seeing things through, is introduced to children from a very young age. Japanese toddlers in preschool are expected to clean up after themselves, serve food, manage their own belongings. Rather than punishing misbehavior, Japanese early education focuses on building the habits and self-discipline that prevent it. In Scandinavian countries, consistently among the lowest in the world for harsh discipline practices, parents emphasize emotional coaching, helping children name and understand their feelings rather than suppress them. Swedish parents are notably patient with tantrums, viewing them as developmentally appropriate rather than confrontational. Both approaches align with what developmental psychologists now call authoritative parenting: warm, responsive, and consistent, with clear expectations and natural consequences. Here are 5 practical things that help. First, choose your battles. Not every moment of toddler behavior needs intervention. Reserve firm limits for safety, respect, and non-negotiables. Second, give warnings. We're leaving the park in 5 minutes works far better than a sudden departure. Transitions are hard for toddlers. Third, stay calm. Your regulation is contagious. A calm, firm voice is more effective and far less exhausting than escalating reactions. Fourth, be consistent. The same behavior should get the same response every time. Inconsistency teaches children to keep testing. And fifth, hear them out. When a child feels genuinely heard, they're less likely to escalate. Acknowledge the emotion before addressing the behavior. I can see you're really upset, and we still cannot hit. Effective toddler discipline isn't about having perfect reactions every single day. It's about building a pattern of warmth, consistency, and natural consequences over time. Research is clear. Children raised with positive discipline have fewer behavioral problems, stronger mental health, and better academic outcomes long term. You will lose your cool sometimes. You will give in sometimes. That's not failure. That's being human. What matters is the overall pattern, not the individual moments. Your toddler isn't giving you a hard time. They're having a hard time. And you showing up calmly, consistently, lovingly is exactly the discipline they need. Subscribe for more research-backed parenting guidance every week. And if this helped you take a breath today, share it with a parent who needs it. For the complete practical guide to toddler discipline, timeouts, setting limits, redirecting misbehavior, handling tantrums with confidence, and the full science behind why positive discipline produces better long-term outcomes. Chapter 5 of my step-by-step guide for first-time parents has everything you need. Link in the description. Disclaimer: this video provides general parenting and educational information. It is not a substitute for professional advice. Every child is different. Consult your pediatrician or child development specialist for guidance specific to your child.